We are back with you live once again on another Johnny Torch live broadcast. Yes, it's been some time, hasn't it, since we've had a live stream. And want to remedy that today. Want to remedy that right now. And let's see, we have Torch News Roundup number 175. 175 big Torch News Roundups. Wow. That is a milestone. I wish I had a lot more to talk about. That's kind of the problem, you know. I don't know why people that are live streaming aren't mentioning the term coronavirus. I don't particularly get a whole lot of views anyway, so I'm not sure if that hurts the algorithm or something if I actually mention it. But yeah, since coronavirus, there really isn't a lot of news in the world of comics and, you know, comic book related movies and TV projects and so forth. So over the course of the past month, haven't had a lot to talk about. We did a couple of art streams, so you can always go check on those where we just sort of shoot the breeze. A lot of fun those are, and I'd like to do them more often, but the thing is, for one thing, they don't garner a lot of views. And for another thing, you know, usually when I'm working, I'd rather be listening to something than talking. So if I'm working on a stream, I'm working on the book and I'm streaming, you know, I've got to try to keep conversation going. I can't just focus on the book, and I'd rather be listening to music. I'd rather be listening to somebody else talk about comics or whatever. So that's what I'm usually doing while I'm doing work on the book. Speaking of the book, let's get back here to The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye. The all-ages action-adventure, extravaganza, extraordinaire, spectacular, and all the other superlatives that I could use to describe The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon. He is a down-on-his-luck private eye who takes on the most colorful collection of villains imaginable. I am still working diligently on the first reissue. The reissue of the first story, remastered, recolored, relettered as a, you know, an epic offering. And it's taking me some time, and I'm not the kind of guy, and I say this 1,000 times, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to go over old projects. But the first issue really needed the best, you know, the biggest facelift of all the other remasters that I did. It was going to take a long time. It's taken me, I don't know, about 7 months now, I believe. At the end of this month, it'll be about 7 months I've been working on it. Typically, it takes me about 6 months to work on a book. I think this one's taken me a little bit longer because it is, you know, a lot of work. It's a detailed project. I can't just, like with the past two remasters, I just touch up the color a little bit, re-letter some of it, and then, you know, bounce it right out. This one needed to be, you know, worked on from the ground up. I had to rebuild this one pretty much from the beginning. And you can check the website for my, you can find a link in the description below. Of course, with StreamYard, I've got these little tools. It's a little bit difficult to have to type all that in. I should really get a domain name or something. But you can check it out, the link in the description below. I made it very easy for you. And we have the quarantine sale still going on. I'm afraid no more surgical gloves in the deal anymore. You know, those kind of got used up. But, you know, you still have as much entertainment in this deal and as much value put into this deal as you would previously. We've got 60 pages for $10 for When the Night Comes. That is the Bullets Bourbon versus Pencil Neck and Carrot Top team up, where his two most dangerous villains join forces in order to take over the world with an Eraserhead missile. And it is as challenging a adventure as Bullets has ever seen. He's pressed into service as a secret agent for the first time. He's usually a private eye, but he's pressed into service as a secret agent for this one adventure. Also, Knock on Wood, 40 pages for $8. Another steal, another downright steal at $8 for 40 pages. Where are you going to find that deal anywhere else? Nowhere, I assure you. And this one is the introduction to Pencil Neck and Bullets being on the run. He is accused of a crime he did not commit. We introduce Detective Scotch, who is his rival, his main rival, and he is on the run from the police as well as trying to confront Pencil Neck to clear his good name. Sure. So be sure to check those out. The link is in the description below. Also check out the Twitter page where you can catch up with all the nonsense and foolishness that I'm up to when I'm not on YouTube. And I really seriously want to get back to doing a lot more work on live stream and YouTube. Of course, I'm still entertaining the notion of another Indiegogo. The first one didn't go so well. I entertained it for the second book, but this time I'm really going to throw myself into it if I do choose to do it and try to make it, work this time. And of course, please hit like, share, and subscribe, all those good things that all the YouTubers tell you to do. Hit the bell for notifications. I usually don't hit the bell, but if it's a channel I really like, I do. So I hope this is one of those for you. And we don't have a whole lot to talk about, like I said, so it's fun to just catch up here for a few minutes. I'll check the comments, make sure that the chat is up for those of you who are interested in chatting with yours truly. Of course, as I always say, if you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, be sure to hit me up. I'm always entertaining the possibility of, networking, as they say. I've kind of shied away from that in the past because, I don't see myself as an interviewer. I'm not a talk show host. But essentially, I got myself comfortable with this role. I mean, you could look back at some of the earlier episodes, especially the ones I suppose that were pre-recorded. And, it's something that pushes you out of your comfort level. I mean, I had to just put all concerns aside and say, look, I'm just going to talk and, discuss the things that interest me. And hopefully those things will interest other people. And it's the same thing here. I mean, if I have a guest on, of course, as I always say, I won't take no cheap shots. And just an interesting exchange of ideas from one person to the other. That's the way to look at it. Okay, so before we go any further with the news of the day, we have, let's see. Again, I'm still getting used to StreamYard, but it is a very useful format here. Let's see. We have a mailbag segment because I haven't been on too often. Mailbag segment where we take some of your comments that you leave on any of my videos and we will discuss them. Now, one of my first, I think my first remaster live stream, my first art stream was Johnny Torch Live number 190. And I got a comment here from Olzink. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but that's his handle. And he says, great video. Looks like a lot of work, but I love your comic. I bought every issue they had at NEC in Malden. Have you done more since then? Well, yes, I have. If you are watching, I have done more. I think I was at the first 4 issues when I sold those issues to NEC in Malden, which, of course, my old stomping grounds. Great store. Check it out. That's the store I went to ever since I was a little kid. Of course, they moved down the street from where they were when I was a kid. Also, I think management might have changed hands once or twice since then. I'm not sure. The folks that work there changed hands kind of a couple of times since I was a kid. But yeah, there's been a lot of new stories and new stuff to enjoy if you've only read what you've seen in NEC Malden. So I wrote a nice lengthy letter to him. I don't think he replied to any of my comments, but I love hearing that. I love hearing people enjoying the book. So if you've read it, anywhere, whether be it in a comic shop, whether you've ordered one from Indie Planet where you can find them, whether you take advantage of the quarantine sale and pick up some issues there, be sure to let me know. I mean, my website, I also have a contact page, which is fun. I'm turning the contact page into something of a coming soon page. So you can really go there and see what's up next if you're interested in, what's to come. Of course, like I said, I think I said on Twitter earlier today, I think the next issue will probably be out. Yeah, that's probably going to go to the printer by mid-May. I imagine it'll take a couple weeks after that, so it'll certainly be ready by June. And as I said, I don't want to do an Indiegogo until I know I'm ready to get it to the printer. So probably look for an Indiegogo in June or maybe very late in May, depending on when I get it started. But yeah, so thank you for the comment from Olzink. Yeah, I'm also happy to announce that he's also a subscriber now. So thank you for subscribing as well. I'd like to get up to that 1,000 subscriber mark, but we got up to 123 at this point. We're up to 125 for a time, and I don't know what happened after that. But, you know, every sub is appreciated. Every sub is loved and well cared for by yours truly. Another comment we had recently, 3 weeks ago, from Jeffrey Steen, who was looking at our Johnny Torch Classic Horror Review, Island of Lost Souls. Yeah, you remember that one? That was the one. I had been doing a Halloween-style review playlist, so to speak, for a while there. And I haven't been able to do any lately, but around October, I would put together a bunch of horror movies from the classic age and review them. So Jeffrey Steen found my Island of Lost Souls review and said, I would give it 5 out of 5. Just a classic movie. Nice presentation in your review. So thank you very much, Jeffrey, for the comments. I would love to do some more scripted reviews. And again, I know I say that a lot, but we are closer now, as I just recently released, the most recent video I did was a couple of days ago now, about maybe almost a week ago now, my Torches soapbox rant of the top 5 rules every Batman writer should know. And I am very proud of this video. This was a great video because it was a return to form. I got back to doing that type of analytical soapbox. And again, it complains about a lot of the stuff that I am always complaining about when it comes to Batman in live action, particularly, such as the killing, why Batman shouldn't kill, as well as other things such as the Bat family being neglected in live action for the most part, the Joker being sort of not as fun as he used to be. But, you know, I would really love everybody to check that out. Give me a like on that if you are so inclined. It is a great video, and I am very, very proud of it. I sat on it for like 6 months, I think. I think I completed that video a while back. I can't remember how long it's been. But there are some audio issues. And, you know, it's like, I'm a perfectionist by nature. You know, I go over things until they're perfect. And I just didn't have the time to keep tweaking the audio and keep going back and re-editing. And at a certain point, you got to throw up your hands and say, look, you know, the sound might be a little iffy in 1 or 2 instances, but I can't just keep wasting my time going back to that. What's more important to me, getting the book done or making sure that it sounds like it's, you know, a Cecil B. DeMille production? So I pretty much just said as is and put it out. Especially since I haven't had much videos recently. I thought it was, you know, a breath of fresh air, particularly, like I said, a return to form for some of these old videos that I used to do. And I hope to be doing some more of them in the future. Again, like I said, right now I'm trying to focus on getting the books done. So not a lot of time to do that, but, you know, the YouTube algorithm loves the 10, 15-minute video. And that's why I have no doubt that this, you know, once it gains its traction, then it'll be a very successful video in my pantheon. Like a lot of mine, I don't really have too many of my live streams in my most popular playlist. The ones that became popular are typically under 20 minutes, 20 minutes and less. So again, I want to try to go back to that just also for the sake of getting the algorithm to, respect my channel a little bit more. All right, so there we are. Thank you once again for the comments. Thank you always for the views, everyone who does. And we are going to get back here now to the news roundup proper. Let me bring up my notes and see what we are doing. All right, so our first story, this is pretty much the story of the day, for me anyway, I guess. So we'll start with that one. We have a return of the Green Hornet. The Green Hornet supposedly is going to be back in front of cameras again in the near future. All right, Universal Pictures has optioned the rights to the Green Hornet and Kato from Amasia, the production banner, which is run by former Marvel Studios president Michael Helfand and Bradley Gallo. They acquired the film rights to the pulp franchise back in January. The title above has been made official, The Green Hornet and Kato. Now, let me stop there for a minute. Now, I greatly fear, first of all, of course, that is the legendary Van Williams alongside the uber-legendary Bruce Lee in that image right there. I love that show. I love those guys' interpretations of the characters. And I can, it gives me pause when we're calling it the Green Hornet and Kato. I kind of get concerned, are we going to be doing the politically correct thing now? That's kind of what a problem they had with the last incarnation, the Seth Rogen incarnation, where it was kind of, well, and trust me, I understand, we can't have Kato being sort of a subservient, houseboy or whatever his designation was in the original show, the original radio series. But, they kind of try to put more emphasis on him. He's the brains behind the whole thing, and he's this and he's that. But the fact is that the Green Hornet is the star of the show. I don't have a problem with them calling it Green Hornet and Kato, in the same way I wouldn't have a problem with them calling a movie Batman and Robin. They're sort of a natural pair, sort of like, the Lone Ranger and Tonto. You can do that. You can make the title that. But at some point, you have to worry about, look, Kato is not an equal. He is a sidekick. And they have to treat him like a sidekick, because then you take the onus off the Green Hornet if you don't. You know what I mean? You have to prioritize the characters. Some characters are sidekicks, some characters are leads, some characters are henchmen, some characters are the main villain. You know what I mean? You can't just blithely make it the Green Hornet and Kato with the intention of making Kato as important as the Green Hornet. And it's the same way with Batman and Robin, or, the Lone Ranger and Tonto, or whatever. Okay. It's expected that Kato will receive equal billing in both that and the film itself. Introduced through radio shows in the 1930s, the Green Hornet series, which has frequently found its way into comic books as well, revolves around Britt Reed, an American newspaper publisher who dons a mask to fight crime and protect his city. Of course, the gimmick always was is he pretends to be a gangster himself. He pretends to be an underworld leader or something, and he sort of, gets the underworld to trust him in a way, or fear him more so, that they're willing to work with him, and then he ends up turning the tables on them and getting them in trouble with the law. I've always found that unique, but it's kind of a difficult one to write, right? I mean, the police are always after him. Of course, the DA knows he's a good guy, or that they're good guys, but they kind of, they work on that niche. They operate on that razor line where the police want them dead, but at the same time, they're working with criminals that really want them dead, but they're trying to, sort of work deals with them. And, it's tough. That's tough to write. And again, this is kind of what the bane of all those pulp heroes are, is villains. The Green Hornet's villains were always generic. It was always gangsters. It was always some, thugs and hoodlums. I think they would once in a while sort of venture into, maybe martial arts villains or, things like that. But, they couldn't stray to something like Mr. Freeze or the craziness of like the Batman universe. And, when you think of the Shadow, he did the same thing. He was fighting gangsters and, cult members or something. You really can't go too far. The Lone Ranger, the same thing. He's fighting cattle rustlers, and it's just the genre into itself. You can't really broaden it too much. That's kind of one of the weaknesses of it, which is why I don't think these reboots tend to be very successful in live action. There's only so far you can go. Like I said, I think the Van Williams Bruce Lee one was about as well done as it could be. They had their finger on the pulse, so to speak, of what the Green Hornet was and how they could kind of make the most of it. All right. He's joined in his crime-fighting adventures by his Asian valet and martial arts master, Kato. Of course, I think in the original radio show, he was Japanese. Kato was. And then when World War II came on, they had to change it, of course, because of World War II, and they made him Korean. But I don't know technically which way they're going to go with that. For this new incarnation, I guess they could go either way. Let's see. Our goal is to make a film that existing fans will love and new fans will love to discover, said Helfand in a statement, pointing out that Universal actually made the 1940 serials as well, which I have. I've seen them. They're pretty good. With Universal, it feels like we are merging the past and the future, creating a contemporary version of the franchise that is fresh and exciting while respecting its long legacy and history. Gallio adds, the confluence of America and Asia is so important. Who better to partner with than a company that has such a major presence on both continents? We also know that Universal will align with our film geek sensibilities and offer up a vision which respects the iconic world of the Green Hornet. We hope. Let's hope so. A search for writers is expected to begin soon. A director will likely be found shortly after. So again, I'm really excited about this. I mean, I love those kind of, like I said, pulp heroes, the Shadow, the Flash, Flash Gordon. I want to see all these guys do good. The Lone Ranger. Get these guys back on the big screen where they belong and get them movies that fans can be proud of. Enough with the Seth Rogen crap, enough with the Johnny Depp Lone Ranger. Get us something that, we can get behind as fans of that, pulp era hero. Get us a Tarzan that we can get behind and be thrilled with his adventures. Get us a Phantom. Phantom hasn't been around on screen in like 25 years now. I mean, come on, this is the time to do it. We've got to get these guys out there. Because, we pretty much mapped the Marvel universe on film, and DC is probably almost halfway there. I mean, they're somewhat behind the MCU in terms of notoriety, but I mean, we've got a lot of stuff out now with, Aquaman, Shazam. We do have a pretty good, palette for DC characters on film now. When we're going to get a decent Superman or Batman film again, that's anybody's guess. But all right, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you excited for the Green Hornet to return and make his debut in a reboot? Or you're just not into it? You're just not into it? That's all right, too. All right, so next up, let's talk about some news made about the Suicide Squad, or as I like to call it, Suicide Squad 2. Filmmaker James Gunn remains vocal on social media. Ain't that the truth? He seems to be on, I see some kind of thing from him on Twitter or something every day. And an Instagram Q&A with the Suicide Squad writer and director resulted in plenty of fresh intel being revealed to fans. Keeping fans entertained yesterday, Gunn was asked about a wide range of topics. Among them was the sequel's rating. He's already confirmed that the film's rating has been decided on, And when asked whether it will end up with an R, he played coy, saying, "Wait and see." An R rating seems likely, but Warner Brothers could decide otherwise after Birds of Prey bombed. See, now, the reason why I had to talk about this is because, don't do this. Don't do this to us. Don't do this to us again. I've ranted about this many times, and it's one of my go-to rants, but you don't need to make... I should make this a soapbox rant, right? I'm looking for new topics, new soapbox topics to rant about. I should do a distilled version of this. You don't need to make a child's character an R-rated movie. And I appreciate that it should be for all ages. I'm not saying to dumb down the characters or to treat them as if you can't have the stories have any teeth, so to speak. But again, that was one of the things that was disappointing to me about having Birds of Prey be rated R, because I knew right off the bat, you're already alienating half of the fan base. And that's not the way to do it. You should not be turning away children from superhero properties. And it's the same thing with Joker. I did a review of the Joker movie. Was not impressed really with it. Competently made movie. I mean, I'm not complaining about it in a technical sense. Very well done. But again, it was not the Joker as I see the Joker. And again, if you want to go down that path a little more, you can both watch my Joker review and the soapbox, the top 5 things every Batman writer should remember. And we'll get more into that there. But again, I don't see why you need to do this. You don't need to have excessive gore. You don't have to have excessive vulgarity. You don't need to have excessive suggestiveness. That doesn't really benefit a story. Stories, movies. Let's take movies, for instance. Movies were not, allowed to go that far for a good, 40 years or so. Pre-Hays Code, they got a little risque, but they didn't really stray over the boundaries of good taste. So pretty much from I don't know, 1960 something and back, you really didn't have any kind of media that couldn't be consumed by a child. And you still had classic stories. You still had, stories that didn't necessarily cater to a child's tastes. I mean, Citizen Kane and Casablanca wasn't probably something every 8-year-old wanted to go see at the movies, but it was still palpable. So if you were 8 years old, you could go to see that movie and you could still probably get something out of it without, being completely ostracized from it. You have to be there for the next generation. That's one of the things I'm pretty adamant on, particularly in the case of comic book stuff. I mean, obviously you can have a mature movie that is intended just for mature viewers, but you pretty much need to have, if you want the comics to continue and thrive and survive, you have to have them accessible by kids. It's just a no-brainer. The San Diego Comic-Con was canceled on Friday, which means Warner Brothers will be unable to hold its normal presentation in Hall H. However, despite all the complications and delays caused by coronavirus, Gunn tells fans that us seeing footage from the Suicide Squad this year remains likely. That's good. We haven't had enough trailers lately. I mean, I think even Wonder Woman isn't... I don't think they're out with their final trailer yet, and that's still up for summer release right in August. We're going to get to that in a second. So yeah, let me know what you think. Well, I can't wait to see Harley Quinn again. I haven't seen Birds of Prey yet, but I have every intention of buying the DVD. Yeah, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy the DVD. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to get a review up ASAP as soon as I see that. I think Birds of Prey is out May 15th, which is less than a month away on DVD, Blu-ray. I think Sonic the Hedgehog is out May 19th. So some of these things out on a DVD pretty soon. I VOD'd Joker, but I'm sure that there's enough for me to go back to with Birds of Prey, even though I'm kind of disappointed in the way that went. All right, so next up, we are going to be talking a little bit about Wonder Woman. Let's see. It always takes a little longer doing this, but let's see. We've got some new images out from Empire Magazine, and this is of Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord, and Wonder Woman has got him in a clinch. She's got him in the lasso of truth, and it looks to be a confrontation in the White House with the Cheetah, or Minerva, whatever her her secret identity is. I can't remember what's her name. Priscilla? Minerva? I think that's her name. And interestingly, I like the parallels here of Superman 2 taking place with a confrontation in the White House, and here we have Wonder Woman 2, for all intents and purposes, taking place with an action scene in the White House. Again, I don't really know how far... Maxwell Lord is not the most compelling character to me, so I'm hoping that the Cheetah really delivers the goods. Because if he's the main villain, and Cheetah's just sort of like, just there as a, last act baddie, sort of the way Ares was, I think we already did that in the last movie. You know what I mean? I don't really need that again, so I would like to see a more capable Cheetah, hopefully, going forward. Let's see. Also, another image here. We have, that's Kristen Wiig in a interesting looking coat there. I don't know what kind of a chinchilla coat or something there. And of course, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman rushing off to, I think this is like the mall scene, which is probably like I think it's like the opening act scene. Interesting. Hopefully it's going to be fun. Hopefully it's going to be good. I am still looking forward to this one. Well, there's only 2 movies coming out this year now, unless, of course, COVID-19 is going to draw everybody away from the theater. These are the only 2 movies that are going to be out, Wonder Woman and Black Widow. And speaking of which, yeah, I've got the list right here, so let me take a look. These are the new release dates for most of the movies. These are the DC movies, pretty much. Wonder Woman 1984 will be on 8/14/20, so that's still coming out in August. Next year, The Suicide Squad will be 8/6/21, another August picture. The Batman, October 1st, 2021. Black Adam will be December 22nd, 2021. Black Adam, we got Black Adam news too. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. The Flash, the beleaguered Flash project with Ezra Miller, is set for 6/3/22, and Shazam 2 has been moved to 11/4/22. Those kids are going to grow up fast, You wait that long, brother. But I guess they're going to film it maybe in 21, but, it's tough because you're going to have kids that by the end of the trilogy are going to be 23 years old, and they're going to be still playing teenagers, probably. Aquaman 2 is also moved to 12/16/22, so another December release for them. And we will hopefully get these films out sooner rather than later. All right, speaking of that Black Adam news, we've got some news here about Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate, as he is going to be apparently in the Black Adam movie. Let's see. A new casting call for Black Adam appears to have shed some light on Warner Brothers' big screen plans for Dr. Fate. It looks like the studio may intend to introduce the character as the DCEU's answer to Marvel's Doctor Strange. That's kind of what he is, isn't it, right? The Illuminati reports that the WB is searching for a 40 to 50-year-old actor to play Fate who will have a strong supporting role in the movie. The character is also described as an ageless master of the mystic arts. As any Marvel fan worth their salt will know, that's the exact word-for-word alias associated with Stephen Strange. There are some obvious similarities between Dr. Fate and Dr. Strange, but despite both being sorcerers, they're both quite different in many ways. It's nothing a bit of tweaking to the character wouldn't fix if director Wam Colette Serra and writer Adam Straczynski were tasked with giving DC's shared movie universe its own version of the Sorcerer Supreme. Star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson recently updated fans on when the movie was expected to begin filming, confirming the production had been delayed until August or September. Black Adam is currently set to hit theaters December 22nd, 2021. So that is interesting. That is something worth paying attention to. Because like I said with the Joker movie, it's very difficult to get a solo villain movie made. And you can do one of two things. You can make the villain an anti-hero, the way they did with Venom in the first Venom movie, where he's not really a bad guy, but he is like going beyond heroic traits, eating the heads of bad guys. Not a heroic trait, not really. Or you could do what they did with the Joker, which is make the Joker sort of it's an uncomfortable thing, at least it was for me, but make the Joker sort of a modern messiah, where he's kind of treated as this great thing. He's elevated up, and as a villain, you should really never do that. He should not be lauded and applauded, and awarded and rewarded. It's just not right. So hopefully this will mean that maybe Dr. Fate will be taking on Black Adam. I believe Hawkman and Hawkgirl are going to be in this as well. I think maybe Stargirl, if I remember correctly. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this an exciting prospect to see Dr. Fate become the Sorcerer Supreme of his universe? Let me know what you think. All right, speaking of Venom, gotta go get him. Venom. All right, so Venom 2 has gotten a title. It's gotten a subtitle, I guess. Sony Pictures officially revealed that the upcoming Venom sequel will be titled Venom: Let There Be Carnage. That's a great title, I gotta say. I really like the sound of that. They announced a significant delay due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, pushing the film back from October to June 25th, 2021. Now, maybe this helps them because they get to do more CGI tweaking, and it can only help them in that regard. But man, that's a whole year away now. Good Lord. That's the problem with this whole thing, with everybody going nuts about the pandemic and everything, is that everything is just get put way, way, way in the future. And it's like, you can't tell people, I'm getting on my soapbox again, but you can't tell people, don't look forward to going to a game. Don't look forward to going to the movies. Don't look forward. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You've got to give people a little bit of hope here. Like, at least like they're doing with the Wonder Woman movie, in that we will still be able to celebrate in the summer. We're going to be able to go out and do the things we want to do in the summer. I hear things like some movie chains are going to try to open in June. Hopefully everything will be open in June. I don't think anything should be closed right now. I've taken some heat on that on Twitter, on that stance. But again, that's my own personal opinion, that, the people who are most at risk should be staying home. Never before in the history of America, at least, could be possibly in history period, where everything in society has been completely shut down and people are told to basically stay home. Never before has happened, no matter how bad situations are, because a quarantine is supposed to be for the sick, not for the healthy. And society and the economy cannot exist if everybody stays home and nobody goes out and does anything. So again, I think this is an overreaction, what we've been seeing. But again, I don't want to get too political. I don't want to step on my soapbox for too long. But I got to tell you where it's at from my point of view. The upcoming Marvel sequel will see Academy Award nominee Tom Hardy return as the titular anti-hero with an all-star supporting cast consisting of three-time Academy Award nominee Woody Harrelson as Carnage / Cletus Cassidy, four-time Academy Award nominee Michelle Williams as Anne Weying, Reed Scott as Dan Lewis, and Academy Award nominee Naomi Harris as Shriek. Stephen Graham and Sean Delaney have also been cast in a pair of undisclosed roles. Golden Globe nominee Andy Serkis is directing from a screenplay by Kelly Marcel. Or Marcel. While plot details are being kept under wraps, the film will feature the live-action debut of one of Spider-Man's most deadly foes, Carnage, and will pit him against Venom in a battle for the ages. They ain't gonna know what hit him. Yep, that's it. Venom 2. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I enjoyed the first Venom. I thought it was fun. I thought it was, a little bit out of the box, a little bit different. That's what I kind of liked about it. And of course, Tom Hardy was entertaining as well. All right, so let me know what you think about Venom 2. And let's see what we have left. We're still talking about pandemic ramifications here. Unfortunately, it looks like the studios have already decided they're not going to give Scoob, the first ever Scooby-Doo animated movie, its shot on the big screen. Now, this breaks my heart because I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan. And I was hoping that this film would give Scooby-Doo a bigger chance in the limelight. That maybe he would do well and that they would give him a Scooby-Doo animated movie trilogy. It doesn't look like that's going to happen because the second movie is going to go straight to video. With all major theaters closed indefinitely, Warner Brothers decided to bring their upcoming animated mystery comedy Scoob to premium VOD and premium digital. Earlier than anticipated on May 15th, the Tony Cervone-directed Hanna-Barbera adaptation was initially scheduled to open in theaters on that date, but will now skip theaters entirely. Fans will be able to rent the film for a 48-hour rental period for $20 purchase or own it for $25. The decision comes just weeks after Universal decided to make a similar move with Trolls World Tour, which has gone on to earn between $40 to $50 million since its launch over Easter. While they may have skipped the theatrical window here, they are not expected to alter their release plans for other top titles, namely Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 1984, Christopher Nolan's Tenet, and John Chu's In the Heights, which are all still expected to debut in theaters as scheduled. The legendary Frank Welker will be reprising his role as Scooby-Doo, and he'll be joined by a star-studded cast that features Will Forte as Shaggy Rogers. Still don't like his voice. They should have got Matthew Lillard back. I don't like this guy's voice. Zac Efron as Fred Jones, Amanda Seyfried as Daphne Blake, and Gina Rodriguez as Velma Dinkley. While Scooby will, of course, be center stage, this cast will also feature characters from the greater Hanna-Barbera universe, with two-time Academy Award nominee Mark Wahlberg voicing Blue Falcon, Jason Isaacs voicing Dick Dastardly, Kiersey Clemens voicing Dee Dee Skies, Ken Jeong voicing Dynamite, Tracy Morgan voicing Captain Caveman, and Simon Cowell as himself. What the heck is he doing in this? I don't know. Anyway, like I said, disappointing to me. I honestly was hoping for like a Scooby-Doo trilogy and stuff, but hopefully maybe this will do well on video on demand and they'll get a chance to show a sequel on the big screen. That's the only thing I can think of. I guess, it's for the kids. They figure the kids are stuck in with nothing to do. Maybe this is a good diversion for them. So I always look, always try to favor the kids. Johnny Torch loved the kids. All right, so let's see. What else do we have here on the schedule? A couple of things in television. Well, let me know what you think about Scoob being left off the big screen. But we have some apparent confirmation that the CW series are pretty much all over for the season. Thankfully, we're still going to get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the final season, I think, no matter what, because that was filmed and put in the can long ago, so they're not going to have to do much to put that on TV. But the end of these seasons were not filmed, and they're going to only, with 19 episodes in the can, just finish up, I guess, without going the extra 3 or 4 episodes. Like every other production, The Flash has been forced to go on unexpected hiatus as a result of the ongoing pandemic, with episodes only set to air through May 12th. it appears as if the show isn't actually going to end its 6th season as planned. Well, that's not overly surprising. The hope was the finals in the midst of production would eventually be completed and air later this year. Instead, it seems the CW is just going to end the shows with whichever episodes were 100% done. In the case of The Flash, that means we're missing out on a major reverse Flash twist, according to star Grant Gustin. So this is disappointing. I mean, I guess it's because they want to give their stars time off instead of, all right, come back for, the next season, whatever it is, season 7, and you got to finish these 3 episodes first, and we'll rush them on. They're just going to end it, say, take your vacations or whatever, come back, and whatever was, half completed or whatever we're going to do with those episodes, it's going to be reworked into the next season. So hopefully it doesn't feel hackneyed. That's the only thing that concerns me. I just don't want to have a hackneyed end of the season. It's got to seem like, the end of a chapter. It can't just seem like interruption, mess, rids. What is that saying? As a writer, I should know what that means. I don't know, but Grant Gustin said, there was going to be a big Thawne cliffhanger at the end of what the season would have been, but that's not going to be the cliffhanger we get. Gustin recently told TV Line, episode 619, Success is Assured, is going to end up being our finale, so we're going to have a different cliffhanger than originally planned. But the cliffhanger at the end of 619 does serve as a pretty good finale, the actor noted. So, hopefully, I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like the connection to the CW shows as strongly as I used to, but I really hope the show continues on because I love Grant Gustin as the Flash. The guy is just, he exudes the Flash. You know what I mean? It's so hard. To me, it's so hard to see Ezra Miller as the Flash, but it's not difficult to see this guy as the Flash. I also love Melissa Benoist as Supergirl, and we're going to talk about Supergirl as well here right now. A surprisingly good season so far of Supergirl. I thought, last season was pretty bad. They weren't going to be able to sort of get their bearings, but they've had a pretty good season thus far. Let's see, according to John Cryer, let's hear what he thinks, and he weighed in on the early conclusion of the season. Based on comments made during an interview with People TV from Lex Luthor actor John Cryer, it seems the show's writers are taking the opportunity to make some changes, either because the episode will now serve as the season 6 premiere, or they just decided to shake things up a little. Cryer explained that while they had a few things for the final that will still be used, they're writing a whole bunch of new stuff around it. He then went on to say, it's interesting because the way my character was thwarted now doesn't happen anymore. So I was like, oh, I did not get defeated. Wait a minute, I like this. So that sounds interesting as well. I mean, particularly in light of Superman and Lois going to be coming out, and it was supposed to be the end of this year. Heaven only knows when that's going to actually debut. He could, rather than be thwarted, he could be just sent packing to Metropolis, where he has to deal with Superman next season. Would be interesting to see what they do with him. I really like his Lex Luthor. I still don't like the beard. I think that's kind of like a thing that's like, all right, it's a transitional thing. It's like our first introduction to Luthor, and, he's got a beard. They can kind of lose it now, if you ask me. But, he's done a great job with this character of Lex Luthor. I think he's second only to probably my favorite Luthor, which is Gene Hackman. But they've all been good. I mean, there's Michael Rosenbaum. There's, the animated series version. Just a lot of great versions of Luthor. A lot of people look at the Joker for Oscar-worthy performances, but really, Luthor has been a pretty strong and solid character that's had many good depictions over the past few years. The past 20 years, 30 years now. 40 years, right? Going back to Gene Hackman. Hopefully they work things out and things will, sort of right themselves, I suppose, eventually. So, that's about it for another edition of the Torch News Roundup, number 175. Boy, time flies. We're still having fun talking about all the upcoming goodies that there is to enjoy in the land of pop culture here on the Johnny Torch Live broadcast. A cultural oasis, I should say a pop cultural oasis for you to enjoy. And I am going to be trying to keep the shows going a little bit more regularly this past month. It's been trying for everyone. It's been trying for everyone, myself included. But, you know, as a cartoonist, I take the time to work on the book more since there are less freedoms. And again, I dislike the fact that there are less freedoms in a country like America. But again, I will not regale you with more with more political stuff. I've been having a lot of fun lately checking out Doctor Who. I was never much of a Who fanatic, but I've been checking out Doctor Who on Pluto TV. I think the Yellow King sort of turned me on to that channel because on Twitter he's suggested to me to check it out. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm watching a lot of the Tom Baker episodes, and they were a lot of fun. I think he's sort of the de facto, at least for people on the outside looking in that are newbies and are not particularly dyed-in-the-wool fans, they kind of see him as the Doctor. You know what I mean? I pretty much knew Doctor Who from his visage, you know, and, you know, maybe David Tennant in the more modern era, but that's who I think of when I think of Doctor Who. So I've been enjoying that during these past weeks. Also checking out a lot of stuff. I want to check out the Batwoman series before that first season goes away entirely. So once I get my fix on Doctor Who, I'm going to try to check out Batwoman because I haven't done that yet. But maybe I'll give, once we get the final episodes for this season out, I'll do my usual ranking video and talk about, you know, some of the general thoughts of the seasons of the CW shows this year. And I don't know, I probably will get that done before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes out, so I might do a separate video and talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when that goes through. It's going to be, you know, kind of bittersweet that we're going to be saying goodbye to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think there's a good chance they could spin off some of those characters, particularly Daisy Johnson, you know, Quake. She's probably the most likely to spin off. But I mean, I would like to see something done with some of the other characters, of course, like May and Fitzsimmons. That'll be fun. And of course, this is kind of going to be the end of Coulson, although, you know, as far as the movies have been concerned, they haven't used him since Avengers. So that's kind of what the sad thing is. We still had him to ourselves in this little pocket universe, but apparently beyond another flashback like the Captain Marvel one that he had, this pretty much is going to be the end of our boy Coulson. So it's going to be a sad and bittersweet summer. All right, so thank you once again for joining me for the Johnny Torch Live broadcast. Once again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Trying to reach our next plateau of subscribers. And check out the Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye on my website. You can get the quarantine sale where we're taking off a couple of bucks for you to get you some reading material that you will enjoy. I promise you'll love it. And we're going to really push our promotional pedal once the once the Indiegogo comes out. I'm going to really try to promote this sucker like no other. And hopefully people, like I said, hopefully people will get all 3 chapters in the saga, because each one builds on the other. Each one is sort of a prelude to bigger things to come. And I'm really excited about the next stories in the line I'm going to be working on once this remaster is done. So be sure you check them all out. And the link in the description below. Also check out my Twitter page. Check out my video. I'll try to put a card up of it at the end here of the top 5 things every Batman writer should remember. The most recent soapbox. I'm very proud of it, and I'm going to see if I can get some more scripted videos going. And of course, I'm going to try to keep the live streams going every Saturday here on the only way to spend your Saturday here with us on the Johnny Torch Live broadcast. So until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.